mama stuff, baby. Yeah,
Wait, so you said you didn't make this beat though? Who made this beat?
Sandman. So everybody on this project was like, besides like the melody producers, like the sample makers,
Yeah.
who I'm still close with, like on an online basis. The guy who makes a lot of my beats besides me is a guy named Sandman.
Oh, that's who the tag was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Sandman is a dude from East Long Meadow that I met through my best friend from like we grew up as childhood friends because my dad and his dad worked at the guitar shop in Agawam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew Maz when I was like 12 years old, doing guitar lessons. He was like 8 or 7 because he's like 4 or 5 years younger
Oh
than me.
shit. Okay.
And then when we were adults, we became friends through music and stuff like that. And they helped me with their first albums, and I met Sandman through there. So like me and Sandman have like, besides myself, he's kind of like that producer that I lock in with. And same thing with Maserati, like both those East Long Meadow kids, like they're best friends, and we met through there, and that's how.
Is bro's actual name Maserati, or that's his
No, his real name is Alexander Maserati.
That's sick. That's
his
a sick
actual
name.
yeah. So, but he goes by Maserati. He's my DJ, my producer that I work with hand in hand a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
And then I love making my own stuff. And when I wanted to make this album, I wanted it to be like all me at first. But it's also just like Sandman helped my career with other stuff, and like I didn't feel like they made my last album, Anomaly, like 4 or 5 years ago. So I was like, I don't want to not do something with them for this, So it just kind of worked and
Yeah.
all that.
So you said y'all met through a guitar shop in Agawam.
So me and Maserati met each other when we were very young at a guitar shop before we were doing music, and
because your pops worked there.
My pops worked there, so my dad would work at the guitar shop. He's a musician for a living.
Okay. So what kind of music?
He plays. He does a lot of covers. So my dad actually performed in UMass for years and years. Yeah.
Really?
So he doesn't do it anymore because he wanted to wait until I was 21 and graduated to like finish off. But he basically performed every Wednesday night at McMurphy's.
Really?
Yes, under the name the Guitar Dudes with his buddy Jerry for like 25, 30 years.
And McMurph's doesn't even do live music anymore.
Yeah, they were like the last people to do it.
Damn.
It's also one of those things where, it is such a DJ centric era that we're in, where a lot of people like more DJs than live music. And I did the whole like acoustic cover thing too in college, with him. But part of that is like, one, it takes a ton of time. There's not a lot of like, I'm not saying money, but it's like when you're traveling and working a day job and stuff like that, one Wednesday night isn't always going to be like the most fruitful, and staying up till 2 a.m., especially like, my dad's in his 50s. He's not 20. He's not in his 20s like me anymore.
Thanks.
Like, so, so he did that for a long time, but that's how me and Maz met. And Maz and I met each other like 15, 16 years down the line. Like, I saw him when he was a kid. He grows up, he's as big as me. I'm like, holy shit. And
did y'all recognize each other immediately, or you have to go through like
I think it was like me and Maserati are pretty distinguishable people. Like, we like, we're not like it's hard to miss us in a crowd.
You have a signature look.
Yeah. A signature look, I would say. So that's how we sort of connected. And he's like one of my best friends in the music game in life. So
sick. Hell yeah. And you just mentioned something that I want to talk about a bit, because I feel like this is definitely, and people notice it, but it's not that much talked about, but the resurgence and mainstreamness of DJ culture right now, as compared to like live music with bands or even rap music. Like, how do you feel about that? Have you like had any urges to like want to make your music more DJable or play like, what I mean?
I think it's important. It's a disservice to yourself if you're not keeping up with the trends of music today, right? And the trends of music tomorrow. And if you're making music that can't be played in a club, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't box yourself in by not allowing yourself to be in that avenue.
Right.
Like when I made this album, I really did every genre that I could think of.
Mm.
and I threw it at the wall because I hadn't dropped in a long time, and I wanted to gauge what people were going to, you know, react to said songs. And there's a song called "Begging on My Knees" that's like an EDM type of deal,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And of course, I'd want to like have that played in the club. Of course, you want to send those things to DJs. I think that that's important to always be ahead of the curve and always trying to do it. And if a song that you make isn't good for a DJ, right?
Mm.
Send your acapella, right?
Right.
Send your
Yeah, yeah,
acapella with the
yeah.
key and the BPM, and they make a cool edit,
Yeah.
right? That might not be your song that you made, right? With your instrumental that I'm like, oh, they didn't use my beat. Well, they used my vocal, right?
Yeah.
Any way that you can get yourself in a door, in a club, anything that you can do, even if you're not making something that's like for the club, find a way to get yourself in there somehow with it, the vocals, the acapellas, or just
Mm.
the instrumentals or something, right? Like, and there's DJs that are hungry that aren't getting, a lot of plays, that are looking for local music to try to edit and are trying to build on their craft. Work with those people,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
trying to get yourself in there. So I think that's important. I like the live band culture. I like the DJ culture. I know sort of the shift that's going. And also, as a music artist that is still trying to perform their own music and all that stuff, you just got to be able to have that live performance and
Mm.
be able to really show people and engage people and have a crowd, right? Like, you can complain all you want about DJing and stuff like that, but they're bringing in the crowd, they're getting it riled up.
Yeah.
How are you as an artist or producer or whatever bringing in that crowd and really showing people a similar live experience?
Yeah. Have you found it like harder to book shows as a rapper though, since there's more desire, I guess?
I've been very blessed, and I'm not going to use me as like the example of everything. I would say generally it's tough because to get people in for hip hop shows, there is sort of this like air that there's bad vibes, or that there's riffraff and all this other stuff sort of implicated when trying to book those shows.
Mm.
Um,
Especially out here in the Amherst side of Western
yeah,
Mass.
but I'm also very privileged, right? Like, I
Mm.
came from a situation where I could just name drop my father's name anywhere, and I'd
Mm.
get into a show quicker and all of that stuff. Now, I'm a very persistent person when it comes to stuff. I'm not the type that's just going to email and sit there. I'm going to email them a text. I'm going to do
Yeah,
like, I sorry to everybody that knows this about me, but I text, double, three, four times to try to get myself in there and be persistent. But I also come from that place of privilege where I'm allowed to do that. I have, a very supportive family,
yeah.
and
Mm.
also connections with family that give me more opportunity to do so. I think my role is that when I do book these shows, and when I do have that ability to put shows, to put people on and put organizations and media companies and people trying to do that and put them on and give them that platform. I think also, I have a show coming. This is not announced yet, but I have a headline show in Westfield at August 15th at the Nook, right?
Okay.
uh,
Nice.
I'm going to put people on that maybe didn't get that opportunity. I'm going to try to get people on, and do that. And I think that's what sort of my role is. And hopefully, when I do these shows, or if I keep putting out these shows again and other people do that, it'll give more ability to bring other people in and all
Hell
that.
yeah.
Like, I know I'm very privileged in my opportunity, and I just kind of want to understand that from my end and
Mm.
give to other people.
Spread the love.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I'm here with DK.
it's good,
DK
bro.
Music. Check him out. DK Music 413 on Instagram. What's your YouTube?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Everything's the same thing.
All right. Hell yeah. But yeah, born in Agawam, or you
Born
born
and
and
raised
raised?
in, I was born in Bay State, Springfield, but I was
Okay.
born and raised in Agawam, Massachusetts. But I went to Chicopee schools growing up. In high school, I went to Chicopee High School, so I like school choice over there. And then I went to school here, so I consider myself, 413, born
Oh
and
yeah,
raised.
West Mass in the building.
Yeah,
We're here at the Groove House today, back again with
yeah.
another interview. DK just dropped an album like 2 weeks ago.
A week ago, not
Oh,
even a week
not
ago.
even not even
Yeah,
a week ago.
yeah.
Again, you got a music video out for it already.
Yep. No Show
Doing,
Some Lies, and then I did Messy, which was like 10 months
yeah,
ago.
I saw that as
Um,
well. Yep.
but yeah,
That seemed more of a running gun, and this newer one was definitely more thought out. At
yeah,
least to me, that's what it
yeah.
looked
When
like.
I made Messy,
Messy.
I was a mess. I'm not gonna lie, and I was with my boys Davey and Kudo, and I was like, "Yo, I need to make a song like right now." I was
Mm.
like, I hadn't made anything in a long time, and I was just like, "Can we film something and put it out?" Like, it was like one of those things where it's like, I need to get something
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
But this one was the No Show Some Lies video was very, very thought out. I write like, for those types of videos, I write my scripts out almost to the time signature.
That's good. That's what you should do. Who did you work with for the
So
videography
I
there?
work with my boy Wolf. His name's Aaron Taylor, but he goes by Wolf. And
Mm.
I worked with him because he'd worked with stuff before. And I was really just trying to find a videographer with the space because he has a studio in Indian Orchard, which is a town in Springfield.
Yep.
I wanted to do something where I knew that it was like a cinematic sort of thing. I come from like a theater background growing up, so I knew that I wanted to act and really make it so it's not these videos where I'm just like sort of singing and rapping into the camera,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I can do that to a certain extent and for some songs, but some songs really need that sort of storyboarding and that visual aspect to liven up the product of the song.
Absolutely.
I knew that if I just dropped the song standalone without the video, I don't think the perception of it would have been as good as it was if I did drop the video.
Yeah, I agree. I think also like it wasn't sometimes when people try to do a storyline video, it's too like song to the T.
Yeah,
And this felt like a good representation of the vibe of the song, but wasn't exactly hitting like all the words per se, or like
yeah,
it had its own vibe as well,
yeah,
which is a nice addition to the song.
yeah.
Um, do you have a favorite song from the project that's your
I
go-to?
think it changes. I think the one that I like the most is probably the last one, the mess I made.
Same, same. That was my favorite
Yeah,
vibe. Like, yeah.
it's a song that really just sort of describes like my journey as a musician and sort of, you know, at 28 I've been doing this since, every day since I was 20 years old and still, not having the savings and money in a home and all
Hmm.
these stuff to really just try to pursue a dream and really monetize off my craft and sort of reflecting that and looking around and seeing my peers that I went to school with a bunch of kids here that I'm still best friends with, that I graduated from high school and seeing them, get married and have kids and
Hmm.
have all these accomplishments is such like this great feeling to show. But I also knew that, I don't have that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's sort of like I said, in this life I've steered from left to right. Sometimes that and like end in sight, still chasing on to wishes, dreams, and fantasies. Like I'm still trying to pursue this dream. I know a lot of people could probably look at my parents as this big, goofy, bald dude and like, oh, he's really trying to like make it in music. Like he'll never do it or whatever that case may be. And just sort of all those feelings into that song and how supportive my family has been
Mm,
for me. I think that was sort of like special in that aspect.
mm. Yeah, that song really hit me too because I felt like the majority of the project, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like was seemingly a somewhat of a storyline of a recent heartbreak of some sort.
Yeah, yeah,
And we don't
yeah.
have to go into that
We
too
can,
much.
we can, we can. It's fine, but
But like the end of the project with the mess I made, or is
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what it's
yeah,
called? Um, it was a complete switch up, completely different genre, guitar,
yeah,
uh, like great melodies, really good harmonies, and
yeah,
was a completely new note that felt like a good way to end the project, but also maybe a good beginning for something to come up
yeah,
next, you know?
yeah.
And so like when do you play guitar at
Yeah,
all?
so I play guitar. That was my first instrument. I learned that like
Mm,
at, 11, 12 years old. And uh, from there, I ended up sort of learning how to play. Once you learn guitar like very well, you can kind of not be proficient at the other string instruments like bass and stuff
mhm.
like that, but it's the same sort of
Outline,
outline
yeah.
of stuff, right? And then I learned keys through producing and things like
Mhm.
that. But yeah, I did. That was the only song on this project where I wrote it before I even knew the chords. So I was just sitting down with
Mm,
no music and I was just writing down like a poem. And
mm,
then I took the chords and sang it. And yeah, so I played all the guitar for that. Maserati did the instrumentals and the melodies and stuff like that because that's like his bread and butter with is
nice.
the counter. We call him counter melody Moz.
Counter Melody Moz.
But yeah, so I made those guitars and all that. And I usually when I make songs with guitars, it's usually on me
Mhm.
and things like that. Yeah.
Do you have a like a preferable way to get down an idea when you're starting to make a song?
So, a lot of the times before, what I would do is I would sit and I would make a beat or I'd get a beat from like Sandman or somebody, and I would sit and I would write for like 2, 3 days in my car.
Mm,
Right. This was before. like BandLab is new, right? Now
Yeah.
everyone's on BandLab with the wire headphones, and I've gotten on BandLab for ideas, but before I would just rip the beat, max volume, get some melodies down at a at a stoplight. I'd put something down on my notes, put my phone down, keep singing and going through. But this time, I just like loaded beats up and I just started recording like freestyling almost. Like I
Mm.
would freestyle and mumble, go back, hit a line, hit a line, hit a line. Like that was I'd never done that before. But the mess I made, that one, and a lot of songs where I feel like I'm missing one song on an album or I'm missing one creative thing. I always go back to my roots in guitar and start just sort of playing and go back to the real instrument of it and that singer songwriter in me to try something new. And that's sort of what came of the mess I made to end off the album, because I basically had the album and I was like, I need one. My albums are very structured similarly, where the last song is usually a softer song. It's
Mm.
usually an acoustic type song, and I knew I wanted that, so that's sort of what I made with
Mm.
that one.
So you said your roots are in guitar, like that's
Yeah,
where you started. That was your first instrument.
yeah.
What was like the development? Like, how old were you when you first started playing guitar? And then what was the next steps from there to like release your first song?
So I started playing guitar at 11 years old, and at that same time, I was doing musical theater. So I was doing musical theater at like 9 years old.
Mm.
I was playing guitar at like 11 and 12, and then when I got to high school, I was in. I was a very. I'm not gonna. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I was a very good singer for the school I was in. Right. I,
Okay.
I went to Chicopee High School. My freshman year, I was the first ever uh, freshman male that did all 4 years of the honors level chorus class.
Okay.
So I was into the chorus things. I was into these like they have like Western Mass and state music competitions where you can go and like sight read and
Like
sing.
Micah, have you been to Micah?
What's Micah?
It's like it's like one of
One of
those
those
for
things.
competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like one of those things, but I love that stuff. But it was a certain point in my life where, all right, you're going to go full fledged onto the theater realm. You're going to get a bachelor's in theater, or you're going to do these theater groups and like try to get yourself in plays and all that stuff. And while I enjoyed all that stuff, there was this. I don't want to call myself self centered, but this individual part of myself where I was like, no, I want to make stuff for me. I
Mm.
want to do stuff for me. So when I got to college, when I turned 19, I started working at Monkey Bar, and then from there, I got opportunities work playing, bouncing, and performing at Monkey Bar. That was like how I
Okay.
got my first start.
You
Was
were you were rapping at that point, or you
no,
were
no. So
playing guitar and singing?
I just had start like the week that I had started Monkey Bar. It was my 19th birthday. Is the day I started.
Mm.
That same week, I I don't gamble anymore, but I gambled and I won like a $500 on a $10 scratch ticket, and I bought a
Oh
Scarlett
shit.
Interface 820 mic, and I just got like Logic and all that other stuff. But I was doing that on my shifts off. But what I would do is I would bounce at Monkey Bar, and you've been to Monkey Bar before, so they
Hmm.
have the two rooms. So what I would
Yep.
do is I would perform acoustic covers of like everything that was playing on the radio at the time. I would hear whatever's going on. I would play. I would play until the back opens, and then when the back opens, I would break down, go bounce,
Okay.
and do that. And that's
That
how I
was
really
outside or in the front
in the
room?
front
Okay.
room. So
Okay.
I would go in and doors would open at 10. I'd play from 10 to 11. When the room fills up, I would stop. I would take my guitar. I would unpack, put it in my car, go bounce, work the shift, and do that. And I did that for till I was like 22, 21, and came back to Monkey Bar at 25 and all that other stuff. So that's how I really got my start. And
Interesting.
then eventually, you know, and I'll still, even in this show before, I'll still play covers, here and there and all that. But I really just wanted to do something for like my own music. I was making
Mm.
beats and loving the ability of like making my own stuff, and that's what I kind of wanted to do. Even though I know I could and still could do the covers, right? It just wasn't artistically fulfilling, I guess, for me.
So would you even consider yourself a rapper? Would you say
I
you're
wouldn't
more of
say
a
people say I'm a rapper, all like, oh, bro, you rap, and it's like, I mean, I just rhyme words together, but everything that I
mm,
do is a melody. Like,
yeah.
if you put a Griselda beat on and ask me to rap on it, would be ass, would be trash.
Have you tried such things?
Oh,
Have you tried? Yeah, I'm
if
sure.
I've tried it, but that's staying in the hard drive.
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere. Production, like I can produce,
Yeah,
those types of
yeah,
beats
yeah.
easily, but I can't really. I don't have like that rap tone. I
So
don't.
you would say you're a musician or a singer,
I'm a
a
singer
singer,
producer. That's what I say to people. I'm a singer producer engineer.
singer, songwriter, producer,
Yeah.
or songwriter. Well, you are a songwriter, but I feel like that gets pushed in line with like acoustic type
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
music. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many divisions when it comes to that type of like labeling and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, so how did you get more acquainted with like the like other artists in the area? Like how did you start meeting these people?
Just like
Um,
DMing people all the time.
DMing. Mm,
Um, it's crazy too because like where I was from in Chicopee, there was a lot of people coming out that were like making music, and
mm,
that was like a huge hub. And when I first started, I was just like a fan of them, and I was like, how am I going to become? How am I going to perform with them? How am I going to do these things? And that's when I started making sort of my own music. But what it was back then in 2016 is not what it is now. Like
mm.
I was really in a situation where like I was like one of three, four, five rappers in Amherst for like 4 years, 3, 4 years.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there really wasn't a ton of like other music artists like where there is now. There wasn't these like media companies that you guys have. Like it
Mm.
really was like grassroots. Try to
Wait, can you? So you went to UMass, right?
yeah, I did go to
Can
UMass.
you give me a little? I'm curious because I've talked to other people about it and I've learned a little bit myself of what the scene used to look like.
Yeah,
But to like all these new people coming in because I've like a bunch of people that are watching that
yeah,
are newer to the scene or maybe are just starting their UMass career and so
yeah.
they're seeing it for what it is now. Can you speak on like what it looked like back in 20 what did you say
2016,
2016
2017.
2017 like what was the music scene out here really looking
The
like?
music scene was basically they had basically five main bars. So it
Hmm.
was Lit and Monkey Bar. Lit was what the lagoon, like the Blue Lagoon
Blue
place.
Lagoon, it's now Gabe's Underground is the
Yeah,
new
Gabe's
spot, but
Underground, right?
yeah, Blue
So
Lagoon,
that was
yeah.
called Lit, and Lit was popping at one point.
Mm.
Now the DJs from Lit, the resident DJs from Lit, the resident DJs from Monkey Bar. Then you had OTT, which my dad's friend Al Diaz does like the Tuesdays there, but that was just like acoustic stuff. So there really wasn't any DJs. It was really just the DJs and like the one offshoot band that would like sort of perform,
And it
but
was all at the bars.
and it was all at the bars. So like you
Hmm.
really there were some places that did like music houses and like little things like that, but there weren't anything crazy like that, and it wasn't also like original music. A
Mm.
lot of the stuff that was popular was like covers and things like that.
Hmm.
I was sort of blessed in the sense that there was this EDM producer that I was working with, Rob Tyria, who made a remix of my song that was getting popular in the bars, that which like helped me out. But it really was like if you didn't work or were in the bar scene, like you weren't on stages and you weren't doing that.
Yeah.
And was blessed because I started working 2 years before I could go into the bars myself,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So like I had that in of being able to do stuff, but it was completely different, right? Like
So there was no, were there like house parties or, and there was like no real like rap
there was
shows
no
out in
real rap. There
Amherst?
was no real rap shows. I mean, there's people that like perform and do stuff in Amherst, but it wasn't really like UMass like centric stuff. But it wasn't like there wasn't like a ton of shows. There wasn't a lot of that. There weren't people producing
Hmm.
and making shows like that. It was really just like people would either pick up a guitar and play covers, or it would be people DJing, and that was
Mm.
sort of it. And if you were like a frequent lit person, right, at those shows, everyone would gravitate. If you all went to lit, you would watch his show, and then it's like, all right, you leave. Like you wouldn't like
Mm.
so. It's not like these big community things that I've seen now out of college where you know everyone's supporting each other and everyone's all in and
I still
staying
wouldn't,
after and all
yeah.
that. But
I still wouldn't say it's quite there yet. I would love that the end goal would be that everyone is supporting each other, that is in the scene musically great. I think there's a outer view of maybe it's seemingly looking like that, but there is a bunch of inner
but
workings.
I will say
But also, sorry, before you say that, this was before the Drake too. The Drake wasn't a
the
venue
Drake
yet.
wasn't a
The
thing.
the Drake, for those of y'all that don't know, that wasn't a thing till 2021 or 2022. That's like a very new venue, first venue in Amherst.
My
Um,
my thing is that I'll say to you is even if it doesn't feel like the love is all the way there, right?
mm,
Like that not everyone is supporting each other. the sheer fact that there's more of people doing it.
Yes, yeah. I'm very appreciative, very grateful of the scene that
And
it
I
is
and I
right
know
now.
you are,
Yeah,
but this is just to everybody, right?
yeah, yeah,
The sheer fact that there's more things you have, you guys in Triple Group Media, you got Local Mojo,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Those things weren't there for
yeah,
readily available use. Like I can't stress enough, like I was in people's DMs. I was canvassing Monkey Bar.
yeah.
I would leave like my first like year of Monkey Bar before I was like performing. I would leave Monkey Bar and just go hand out flyers at Spoke and OTT and like run down North Pleasant Street and come back and run back and do all those stuff.
Hmm.
Now you can send somebody a DM and try
Yeah,
to get yourself on a show, right? It
yeah.
wasn't that it was a lot harder back then to do.
For the record, though, I will say when I first moved here 5 years ago, I was doing the same thing. I was flying, I was knocking on random people's doors, being like, "Hey, can I throw a party at your house? Because we have a rap group that nobody wants to let us perform, but like no one wants to let us perform at their space or whatever." So I feel like when I first entered, it was more similar to how it was back then
Yeah.
than what it is now. I'm very grateful and very appreciative for the space that it is now. But what I have learned also about the Amherst scene specifically is that it is on this 4 or 5 year rotation schedule,
Yeah.
which maybe it's changed a bit since Local Mojo has entered the scene now a bit, and I've done some stuff with Groovy Events and Triple Groove Media. Hopefully that continues to let the ball continue to roll instead of stop and roll again.
Yeah.
But I will say I have noticed a pattern of like the scene needing to get rebuilt every 4 or 5 years because of
People leaving
people
and
leaving it.
graduating and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
So that is part of the nature of the college town
Yeah.
area, though, especially with it being the 5 colleges all clustered up into one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely changed heavily. So for those of y'all that don't know and want to learn the history, reach out to DK
Yeah.
or there's other artists that are still around that
Yeah.
know the whole inner workings. Um, okay, let's get into what was your first song that you released? I'm curious, and was it an acoustic? Was it a cover?
It
Like
was
what did it sound like?
I made a song I think on like Christmas Eve and put it out because it was like right after some like situationship breakup that I did not handle well, and then I made some song afterwards called like "You Suck," which was like so trash, and it was just like a SoundCloud song. I did it with this guy Avery on the beat, who's
Okay,
now
yeah, yeah,
multi-platinum producer Avery on the beat, but that's what I sort of first did. I recorded it with him and was so gung ho. I was like, I'm making all my own beats. I'm not doing anything. Song's trash, but
yeah.
it is what it is. Uh, and I mean, that was 8 years ago.
Hmm.
2017. So that was like my first like song and trying to push out.
What's your favorite song that you've made? Like throughout
Jeez.
all your release music?
I think I won't know until I really see the reception from this album. I really think this particular album was like light years ahead of whatever I did before.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that like sort of favorite song, but I produced I've produced way more songs than I've actually like been in, right? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so many albums and stuff that I would like probably put on top of that from a producer standpoint. If I
Mm.
had to say from an artist standpoint, it was probably the song, you know, any of the songs off the new album. But there was like singles like Second Place that I had made when I came back and worked Monkey Bar for a year in 2021, like that I really enjoyed. But nothing for me, it's like nothing beats what I just did.
Mm.
Uh,
That's how it should be. That's
and that's
good.
how it should
Yeah,
be.
yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the producer side of things a little bit
Yeah.
because as you said, you've done more producing than making your own music.
Yeah.
Um, can you talk about maybe a few artists that you work with and some of your what you try to do as a producer as compared to an artist in the music scene out here?
So my career doesn't happen and isn't a thing without my two like best friends. He's gonna go by name Burn Slow, but his name used to be Kudo, and the other guy is who you met the other day is Lil Step.
Little
Those
step.
two,
Okay.
Lil Step is actually on the mess I made. Believe it or
Okay.
not, he's on the chorus of that song. But those two, we I found them because Kudo was in a group and he wanted to do solo stuff. And I found Lil Step at a show when I was 19. I did a show at Hawks and Reed in Greenfield. I did this big Western Mass show. We did like 400. We sold out Hawks and Reed. It was crazy.
Hawks and Reed is a big ass venue.
Yeah,
too.
we sold the big room 440 with all the people. So it was dope. And I remember Step was like right out of high school, and I pointed at him. I said, "Bro, you are so good." I was like, "You need to get in the studio." And then ever since, he's like been my best friend. And then, from those two and those opportunities that we've had through all of our ups and downs as, not only musicians, but friends, working with them is just so crucial as far as the production realm. And I would say between, Kudos knows what he's doing. Like, Kudos started before I did with music. Like, I remember being at UMass and he was in high school, and I would listen to his SoundCloud stuff.
That's crazy.
And
that's crazy.
Like being like this like fanboy of a kid like 3-4 years younger than me, that he's like obviously one of my best friends. We talk every day. But with Step, Step kind of gave me a lot more reins when it came to sort of like the construction and of these albums and how to place it. Like, not only am I a producer, but I would say that my bag has definitely been also executive production, where I'm sort of like making sure the stuff goes together and all these things transition properly, and what is going to retain the listener the best, right? Like, if you put this song at track 3, they might not listen to it, but if you put it at track 6 after track 5 and 7, like those types of things are sort of important. And also just, creating beats in front of them and cooking up on the spot. And those moments I think are crucial. And then that sort of bridging the gap for me to work with other people, like, I could name lists like Davey Shakanor, Quinn Reed, Jonas, Mikey Blackbird. All these people, I could go on and on and on. Syllabus, we have an album coming out in like 2 weeks that I produced. So just working with them and just trying to make beats and send them out and see how everyone does, but also just working in the studio and trying to craft a project, I think has been sort of my favorite parts of being a producer.
So you'd prefer to be really like fully involved in a full album as compared to just like sending a beat to an artist? Or...
Yeah, like I probably, if I really wanted to, right? Like I probably could have. I probably wouldn't be in the situation I am now financially if I decided to like sell beats on BeatStars and produce for random people and sell leases. But a thing about me is that I don't sell leases. So like if you get a beat, I can't, if I use a sample or a loop, I can't 100% guarantee that it's not going to be used in a different beat or something.
Yeah.
But if you hear the tag DK go crazy, that beat's, nobody else has that beat.
Yeah.
And I think that is where I really enjoy doing it, is that the product that I'm making, even if people are paying me for it, like I enjoy the product and I enjoy what they're doing, and I want whatever I make to be, one of one, authentic. And that's key to relationship building, right? It might not be like the money, but people are going to speak good on you and try to, spread the word through your business. And then you can go and start, making money on mixing and producing with other clients and other people that you meet through building these projects.
And I think it also speaks to like holding yourself like true to yourself as an artist. Whereas like if you're really only working with people that you fuck with, you like their sound, you trust that they're gonna do something cool on the art that you've already made, then it only propels that song further. Like you're both gonna be happy with that end product, and it's gonna be a more enjoyable overall experience for everyone involved, and it's gonna result in a better piece of music.
Yeah.
Make sure to like and subscribe on this video. Check out DK Music on all platforms, and get back to the video.
Bro, he's sparing with it, but if you ever have Davey on Facebook, he's probably one of the funniest
on
people.
Facebook.
Oh my god, he posts things that I would, because I don't know what Facebook he has, but Facebook to me is like your professional. All my grandmother,
yeah, type shit.
And David will just post these things where, like, he posted one thing, it was like, yeah, maybe he said I'm having oxtail and pancakes for breakfast. He like posted at like 8 a.m. I'm like, who I go, who does that? So who eats that at this time? And then he'll text me, yeah, my stomach's fried. It's just like little things like that. It's hilarious. He literally just Snapchatted me because today is my grandmother's. She passed, but it was my grandmother's birthday.
Oh, shout out.
Shout out, Nan.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of me at prom. This is obviously years ago.
Yeah.
And he just says, damn, DK with hair gives me JFK vibes.
Yo.
Oh.
Can we see a picture with you with hair?
With
I'm
me with
curious.
hair,
Yeah.
we can. Actually, you know what? So this is like an old one. So this is me and my nan. But I'll pull up the photo of all photos that
Oh
you
my.
will not
Yeah.
believe.
Is this you gonna have like a perm or some shit?
Well, it may look like a perm because at the time I didn't think I was receding, but this is this is the decay that
Oh
started
wow. Here,
monkey
you can send
bar.
that to me. I'll put it up on screen.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
so that
bro.
is me with hair.
That's 2017?
Yeah, 2017, 2016.
Damn, that's
I
wow.
didn't shaved my head. I think Halloween 2019 was when I shaved my head.
Never gone back since.
I think I can go back.
No?
So many people hit me up and be like, "Bro, you got to go to Istanbul. You got to go to
To
Turkey
Turkey.
and get the hair transplant."
Yeah.
I have alopecia. If I go to Turkey and they make me come back and I look like a four-seam fastball, I'm just gonna come back and start losing the hair that they put on my head, and I
Yeah.
just lost $10,000.
And your head's gonna be red as fuck too.
Red as fuck.
Red as
I did like, dude. It wasn't a lot, but I had like scraggly hairs coming out of my back. It wasn't like a lot, but it was
Mhm.
just like embarrassing. And I went and they did laser. This is how bad my
Really?
skin is. They did it on the lowest thing, and I'm like gripping it like somebody is like whipping me with lashes, and I have hives like all over my back.
Damn.
Like anytime like a little bit of like laser or heat gets on, like I broke out in hives. So I was like, if I go over in Turkey and like I just get an infection in my head, I was like,
You're
it's gonna
fucked.
scar. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
awful. So I was like, I'm bald. Sorry, I'm bald. That's what it is.
It seems like you've taken control of it over than just like allowing it to happen
I
though.
think it's fine because I'm 6'4", 250. If I
Mm.
wasn't as tall, or if I was maybe like wicked skinny and looked
Mm.
like a bobblehead, maybe that would like
See, that's what I'm scared about. If I go bald, I'm super scared. I'm tall-ish, but like I have a big round head.
your head is not as big as you
No, and comparably, it's not as big. But I have like a like I in I think it was like seventh grade. I went and got a haircut at a new place I'd never been to before. I'm from Boston, so I went to this spot in Mattapan that's closed now. But I said buzz cut, and dude didn't really fully understand me. He didn't speak much English, and he went like really, really close,
Oh, we hit you with
like
the one.
hit me with the point 0.5, bro. And I had a basketball game later that day, and so I pull up basically no hair on my head, and I'm like warming up. People from the side, hey yo, Caillou! Hey, I'm like, bro, like in seventh grade, and so since then, I don't know if I can necessarily do the bald
But you have
thing, but
the thing is you have the ability to grow facial hair.
yeah,
Once you go bald, that means
you have to have the
you
facial
have to
hair,
grow the growth goatee,
right, right.
because then that'll outweigh
And
it.
you've tried to grow facial hair, and it doesn't work.
I've tried everything, and it just does not work.
Mm.
Like if I don't shave, like this is what maybe shaved last night, so it was like a day. If I don't shave every 2 to 3 days, I look like a bum. Like I look disgusting. Well, it's like you know
But you
you
couldn't even get a
I
mustache,
couldn't. No, not like a full one. No, it's just like
really.
very patchy, and it makes me
Mm.
look. That's why I think I have the alopecia because like I never really had eyebrows to begin with,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So like even when I had hair, I didn't have eyebrows. It's been like weird spotty hair.
Mm.
So, but no, you'll be good. When it comes, he's got a while.
I've got a few more years.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. So okay, so um, let's get back on the, I guess, in what's coming next. So
hmm
we just dropped a new project a
yeah,
week ago. Um, do you have any more like you said you have a show coming up at the Nook?
yeah. Show coming up on August 15th to the Nook.
Mm.
Me and my boy Syllabus, who in my opinion is like one of the most underrated people are out here musician wise. Uh, just super talented and like so unknown. He's going to be on the show. He's one of the artists on the bill. When I was working at a studio for a little while called Paper City. Uh,
Mm.
I'm not with them anymore. Shout out to them though. But I when he was there, he came in as like a paid client or whatever, and came through the studio, and then we met and we just like hit it off, and I was like recording with, and a lot of times with people who are producing engineering, and I bet people have felt this way about me when I started. And I'm not saying I'm like the best of the best or anything like that, but there's times where as an engineer, as someone who's trying to make money on their career, you're going to have times where you need to separate that like sort of producer stuff, and you may not be 100% like gung ho into like what they're
Yeah.
doing, and that is okay. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things that I do that people probably record that are like, I don't really like this, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But with him, it was like, where did this dude come from? Like, I'd never
Mm-hmm.
heard of him. He's a little older than me, and like the people that started Western Mass music years ago were sort of like his age range and things like that. But I'd never heard of him, and I was like, dude, this dude's like super good. I was like, I need to like keep working with him. And then 2.5 albums later,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the last 2 years, I think by the end of the year he'll have dropped like somewhere along the lines like 45 to 60 songs in the last like 2 years.
Damn.
Yeah, and
Damn.
like half of that is my production.
Wow.
So locking in with him has been phenomenal, and to see him, and the thing is too is his performance, like the way he performs, like there's no backing track. He's really rapping. He's really
Mm-hmm.
singing. Like he's got that shit on lock
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to that.
Speaking of that, can you talk about a bit uh artists performing? How do you feel about artists performing with a backing track?
If you're loud enough, you can do it.
If you're
If
on the
you're
mic
loud
loud
enough
enough.
and you can project enough, you can do it. Like the
Mm-hmm.
other night, I got pulled up on stage and I didn't have my backing track because it was literally like 2 hours before I got a FaceTime. You want to perform? I was like, yeah, but I didn't have the time to go back and like mix down the vocals
Yeah.
to do that because I'll typically do that because I know my performance. I'm a very loud singer.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went on the stage, like I needed to just make sure like my vocals were loud. I think that's important to do. I think that the whole thing of like the backing track problem with stuff is like people will tend to complain about that backing track stuff because if you see them on the performance, they're not even saying 50%
Right,
of the
right.
words.
Yeah.
But at that same point, for me, like I make R&B, so like I'm not gonna always, if I'm performing and trying to catch my breath, I'm not always going to hit the harmony or hit the thing
Mm-hmm.
on there. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes with those backing tracks, having the harmonies or like the background vocals, I
Mm-hmm.
think is important, and just like maybe the main turn down a little bit. But as long as you're engaging the performer and again being loud enough to project your voice and being on key as most as you can. If you don't have an auto tune mic, if you have an auto tune mic, go crazy. But
Yeah.
for me, I don't think I've ever used. We might use an auto tune mic for this one. I don't know if I personally will, but
It's hard to set up.
it is.
It relatively, if you can run through an interface, it just depends because you either have to have an actual auto tune box,
Yeah,
which most venues, especially around here, don't have,
yeah.
or you
We
have to
would
run
purchase it
through an
beforehand. I know
yeah.
the auto tune box. My dad works at in an audio shop in West Springfield, so I would probably like
There
buy
you
through
go.
them. But
Yeah. All right, let's do a little segment. I do this with every single person I've had on. Well, not the first two, but ever since then.
okay,
I got this shout out Angel, I think his name is.
okay.
Enough said. He's from New York originally, but I got this. He lives in Springfield now.
Oh,
It's
dope.
his own local brand, and it's basically just small icebreaker questions, but
Okay,
it brings it outside of the music and the artist, so
all right.
people get to learn a little bit more about you
I'm
as
ready.
DK. All right. Would you want to forget everybody or everybody forget you?
I want to forget.
That's a tough
Would I want
question.
to forget everybody or
Yeah.
everybody to forget you?
That's
Um,
and why?
I'd want to forget everybody because I want I feel like I lived my life in the ability of like right like if I was to die tomorrow, what would my legacy be like?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that's sort of been a mantra that I've lived ever since I started my music career is like you know what the big thing I tell people is like it's not about at the end of the day if you die right it's not about the amount in your bank account it's the legacy you left behind and what
Yeah.
people cared about you. So I think that if I had to pick, it would probably be like, I would forget everyone because I don't want everyone to forget me.
Mm. But then wouldn't that be? Because I feel like the legacy you leave behind is how people will remember you.
Yeah.
And so aren't you holding some people's legacies based on how you remember them?
Uh, I guess it's a tough
It
question.
is a tough question. That is a really tough question.
It's a very
Yeah.
tough question. I would hope that the reason I forget them is because I'm not here. You
That's
know,
fair.
like,
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
which I have a long life ahead of me,
Yeah.
but
Okay. All right. That was a tough first question. Let's go with describe yourself in just 3 words.
big, bald, beautiful.
That was easy. Triple B. Part
Triple
of the
B.
part of the ball family, yeah. Okay. Okay. Davey actually had this one too, I think. What is your go-to comfort food?
Jeez, Chinese food, China Star, crab
Mm,
rangoon, special meal white rice. I had that 2 nights ago.
that was seems like you eat that quite a bit, huh?
Oh, they know me.
Then
They they see the big bald guy coming through. They're like, small crab rangoon, special meal white rice. I'm like, you know it.
Yo, you know what I was reminded of the other day? I don't know if you've ever been to one of these, but Old Country Buffet. Do you remember those?
Oh my god, yeah.
Bro, that was the shit growing up. They don't exist anymore. They're
No,
all
they're
gone.
all like the buffet. The old country buffet building is still a buffet, but it's a Chinese buffet.
Really?
Yeah, I know West Springfield.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Shout out.
last time I had a buffet, I exploded. I've been on a health kick for a while. This whole album, I've lost like I think I lost. I'm almost down 30 pounds since
Fuck
February.
yeah, dude. Good
So
shit.
thank you.
Hell yeah.
But I had a cheat meal at a buffet, and I literally it took me like 3 days to recover because I
Yeah,
just don't
yeah.
eat like I used to.
That's fair. But shout out Old Country Buffet, bro. That was the
Shout
that
out
was
them.
the shit. Bring that shit back. Let's start a petition. Okay. Time travel to your younger self. What would you tell yourself?
Um, don't gamble. Save your money. Chop that shit off. It's not growing back.
That's- Even as a youngin?
Well, I don't know how far we're going.
Yeah,
Like
that's fair. That's fair.
if I went to like you know high school me, I'd probably be like, "You're annoying. Tone it down.
To settle down.
Settle down, you annoying motherfucker." No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably what I would say. Save your money.
And what does save your money look like to you? Like, is that putting it in a savings account? Is
Yeah,
that
putting in a
investing?
savings and not an 8 leg parlay. You know,
Okay. That's good advice. That's good
you know.
advice. Yeah. Okay, we'll do one more. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is working hard for your dreams, being a good person, learning from your mistakes, and trying to wake up every day and build on the evolution of you as a human being.
Mm, that's hard. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think a lot of people focus on the end goal, and that's really more speaks to the journey.
Yeah,
And I think the most important thing there, to me at least, was building upon and continuing to evolve, as you said.
yeah,
Um, so artist, producer, and seems like you do your own rollout for
I
projects as
do.
well.
Yeah.
What does that look like to you? And when does that start? When does that process start? Like when you
When I know I have this time around, I knew I had the album done. There was a lot of times where I would do rollouts or like put videos out that didn't have the project like ready to go. I knew
mm,
for this project that I was going to have the project done before the video came out, right?
okay.
So I think from now on, and I did that with people that I did executively production on,
Mm,
like I when Step dropped his project, he had a video, and then the album was already done, right? Like I didn't like listen to my own self for many years, and I was also
mm,
more producing than artistry for a while. But this time around, it's like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put out the video. I basically do sort of a waterfall effect of where I'll put out a video with a song and I'll let that rock for a week, and then grab attention to like the pre-save, and then the album will sort of come out.
mm,
Um, for that. And the roles are different because when I first started, pre-release was so crucial, but now it's even post-release, right? Like a lot of these albums blow up 2-3 months after you drop. Like I
mm,
was like, oh, the numbers aren't good now, but it's like, this is 6 days after the album. This is I get an interview with you. Then
mm.
tomorrow I'm going out to Boston for an interview. Like so, the
Nice.
post-release is more important than people
Absolutely.
think nowadays. So I think just making sure I had the piece of video content, the pre-save, and those are just, and the metadata, all the back end little intricate
Mhm.
codes and distro and all that. So
And I think people underestimate too how long you can continue to promote any project after it's released. Like I have music out. I haven't released music in 3 years or whatever. But if I wanted to, I could still go and put out a music video for a song that I made 3 years
yeah,
ago,
you
and it
could.
could reach a whole new audience that people. It's not a new song at all, but it would be new to them. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So you can continue to promote your own music for years and years after it's released, and I think that's what a lot of successful independent artists I've seen do is they continue to reuse content, continue to promote shit from years and years ago, even though they're dropping new stuff, which is also important, but you can continue to promote
yeah,
everything that you have at any point in time.
yeah. It's different now, but
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And so I'm not like too I know that they were talking about pre-saves as a very important part of the thing, but I think it's more of there's a difference between like pre-saving a single song and then you can have there's a certain way to get people to pre-save any song that you release.
yeah.
Do you know the
Yeah,
difference
like
between that?
like you can do that with like sort of the email newsletters and things like that when it comes to like the pre-saves.
Mm.
I'm a very different type of artist where every time that I've ever dropped, right, singles don't work for me.
Mm.
Like I'm a very or album type of dude where those like people like albums from me. Like they'll go and sort of pre-save all that other stuff. So from now on, I really have to like gauge like what the best mode of doing things. But I'll probably only be like a project EP guy for the rest of my career.
Mm.
There's a lot of people that I know that drop singles every 2 weeks and all that other stuff, which is great for them. But it's never in this day and age when I thought it would work for me, it's just never worked.
Mm.
So getting people to pre-save, the album, I think, especially when it comes to Spotify, the way their algorithm works, it's really crucial for that to happen because release radar is actually huge and it's connected through like Facebook and
Yeah.
Meta. So, if you're playing that, all your friends that are connected are going to hear that in the radar and sort of go up from there. And
Mm.
just gaining those followers from, social media, I think is important. I'll
Mm.
probably do a newsletter, eventually, but it's like a lot of the shit is just like they look at it in their notifications and put it in spam and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
What's your relationship with social media specifically? Like,
not great.
not great. No. As as a consumer or as like a promoter?
Both,
Both.
right? Like it's like the worst love hate relationship I've ever
Mhm.
had in my life, where
Mhm.
it's gotten me in trouble. It's gotten me in situations I don't want to be in. There's drama, there's this and that and the third, but it's also given me my best friends. It's given me an outlet. It's given me, you know, I'm not going to sit here and lie to anybody and be like the positive affirmation of the art that I'm making isn't gratifying. It is, right?
Mm.
Like, but to that same point, it's like, you always got to be ahead of the curve. If someone's like, yo, send the song in and it's like A&R listening and stuff, you always got to be right there, like doing that. So
Mhm.
that can get, tough to sort of gauge and tough to always be on your phone and doing that, and especially when you make money online, right? Like you have to kind of
Yeah.
be on there and respond to people through DMs with mix edits and things of that nature. So,
Mhm.
love hate relationship.
Mhm.
I think that I would love to keep. I'll still always be on the social media and keep making content, but I feel like the goal is to sort of be in a position where I'm popping enough that somebody from like a management or somebody wants to come in and sort of run that aspect of social media and the
Mhm. All right, I want to switch things up a bit because I'm curious to hear about your experience with Western Mass specifically. We're in Amherst right now, but there's so much space in Western Mass that's all different types of music, all different types of people, all different types of scenery and outdoors. Like, what was your experience growing up here, and how do you think that helped like shape you as an artist?
my experience growing up was like I had the best family in the world, and I still do. But socially it was very tough for me. I was a very big, awkward, goofy kid, and I really wanted to, be in sports, and I really wanted to be what all the cool kids were doing, right? Or
Mm.
whatever it be skating, whatever it be, the sports or going to parties and all that stuff. So I've always been a very persistent dude, not to like, not in like in a way that is meant in this like negative tone, but persistent in just trying to do something, right? If I see it, I want it type deal. Or
Mm,
when it comes to like goals or hanging out with people and all that. But it was tough, right? Like I didn't growing up socially like was difficult for me. I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, and a lot of times like I don't feel like I fit in, and that's when I fit in when I started making music because there was a part of me that felt like I was creating a community of
mm,
people to do so. But it was tough. I was a very annoying kid who was like all over the place. And 2 years ago, I went and got like tested, and I was like diagnosed with like combined ADHD, like the highest ADHD. Like it's basically just ADHD with
mm.
generalized anxiety disorder. And I just like lived like my almost my entire adult life without knowing that,
Yeah, yeah.
right? With just being like, oh, he's a little different, or he's like a little, out there. But like, I didn't realize like how bad that was,
Mm,
right? Until like my later years. So that kind of looking back on it, I was like, oh, I could have, would have, should have done this, that, and the third.
mm.
Uh, but growing, there was a long time where I wanted to leave Western Mass. Like I'd lived in Atlanta, I lived in Maryland, I had moved before. There's some times where it's like it's tough to stay around here. There isn't a lot to do, but then I kind of just also realized like you have to make the things to do, and
Yeah.
that's what I did through
Mhm.
the music career and the bouncing lifestyle, right, and just that sort of work. But I didn't feel like I was like loving Western Mass until I really like became an adult and sort of went to college and calmed down a little bit and became myself and
Mhm.
you know
Do you want to speak? I'm curious, like, 'cause my mom also had a similar thing where she wasn't diagnosed for, a long time. Um, to those, like, to maybe some like younger artists or people out there, do you have any like advice on how to, since now figuring out you have
I
like
mean,
ADHD?
if you have the ability to do it and you want to get a psycho evaluation on
Mm,
yourself, I don't feel like you can't, right?
mm, mm,
And unfortunately, with those, like it does unlock a lot of like past traumas and things like that. When you do those things, but I think it's crucial to know and that there are resources out for you. And just as an artist in general, like you have like the biggest thing when I got the diagnosis, the biggest thing that I started to do was like the usage of my iCalendar, right?
mm,
Like that was such a huge thing for me to keep organized. My notes apps, like all those things are super crucial to do. And you know, if you're if you're in the game, if you feel like you're neurodivergent, if you feel like you have BPD or bipolar or autism or ADHD or any of those things, like you know just because you're a little different doesn't mean you're any less of a person.
mm,
And you just need to maybe find the avenues and outlets and resources to organize your life different than what you would assume the status quo is. But just remember that even if you're in that situation, everyone else has their own faults and traumas and reactions to life that are completely unique to them. And
mm.
just because you may not feel quote unquote normal, that doesn't mean that you're not a special person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I think that's a great way to end it.
Thank you, bro.
Um, yeah. Do you have anything else? Final like words of wisdom
Thank you
or?
guys for this. Shout out to you and shout
Mm,
out to all the stuff that you guys have been doing. And I'm
thank
very
you.
proud of you for doing all that stuff. And, you know, what you guys do is so crucial to the scene. It wasn't something that was around when I first started, and now to see it and to be able to, as I feel like an old unk, but as the old unk DK, to be able to be a part of like an interview or even to be asked is just like a true honor. And I really appreciate you taking the time and appreciate what the scene and everyone around here and just in general has been doing. My name is DK. My new album is DK Who Are You, out now, August 15th. I'll be headlining the Nook. It's going to be called DK Where Are You? And it'll be Huckies at the Nook on August 15th. It's a 21 plus event. It's like a little 85 to 100 person venue. So we're going to hope to sell it out beforehand. But tickets should be on sale. soon. And yeah, you can find me on all platforms at dkmusicforum3 and email me at dkmusicforum3 at gmail.com.
Oh yeah. All right. Much love. Stay groovy. We'll be back at the Groove House next time.